Trying this bloggy camera again, the Sony. Sort of nice, but yeah, the sound quality isn't very good. So, that kind of sort of sucks. Anyway, it's an older version. I bet it's HD, so can't be that old. Anyway, this is not HD, of course, because I'm just going to talk and such. Feeling quite marginal today. It's sort of annoying, having one of my bad days, and I just don't, it's so hard when you say I just don't feel good. It's like you're not really sick, you're just a little like, yeah, I don't feel good. Anyway, it's really annoying though. It's just enough to get in the way where you really don't want to do anything or go anywhere, do nothing or nothing. But anyway, but then you'll say anyway a lot. Take a breath. It's gonna probably thunderstorm and lightning on me and all kinds of shit. But what else is news? Okay. So the subject for this video, a lot of good videos around. Yeah, made by me, of course. Anyway, yeah. Jay Sounder did a response to Louis Productions guy. I should respond to his video, but his video style is so obnoxious and annoying. I can't barely watch his videos. Just way bizarre emphasis. Anyway, fuck that word. Alright, subject for today. There's just so many, but yeah, I have to nail these things down one at a time, just go through each one of these different little components of philosophy, but some of them have value. Besides the big picture of antinatalism, I have talked about all these pieces, the pieces that go into the puzzle. And a related but not very related piece is just this whole understanding of what our brain is doing, what our point here is, what our function is. And when we say our, what do we mean? What am I? I would argue that I'm some biological reflexes, some sensation things, emotions, a physiology that's, a little low on thyroid, and so maybe that's why I feel like shit. But I took it to, well, anyway, it doesn't make sense, and it's really hard to regulate. So where was I? Yeah, so what are we? What part of that is us? And I'm going to argue that when we say us, or me, or I, we're really talking about the highest part of us, the thinking part. The part that does it's most focused on words and their meanings, principles, concepts of, the whole honor stoic thing even fits in here. These ideals, the narrow definition of purpose and function in terms of good and bad and all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is us. Our will even. And I guess, yeah, maybe I'll call this universal will. And because the game really is that we have this thinking brain, and one of the thoughts it can have, one of the thoughts I've had, that sort of basically turned into a principle because I'm confident it's the truth, is that all there is the welfare of these sentients, and they're all fundamentally of equal value. I mean, my discomfort isn't more meaningful than somebody else's discomfort. We could just call it a supernova, or we could call it any kind of event that happens, and we could just say, yeah, it falls into that classification of a unpleasant sensation being experienced, and it's very common. Now we can have different definitions of what a headache is, or a really bad headache, and all these variable terms, but I just mean the idea of being in an unpleasant state of being, having a broken leg, is pretty much a universal bad thing, no matter what human's experiencing it. And the value of that badness is the same. It's not less bad when it happens to somebody else. It's only less bad to me personally, and me personally is irrelevant. So, by any kind of logic. If you're going to apply logic, you don't sit there and say, one supernova is better than the other supernova because I gave it a better name. Called it, I don't know, especially super duper nova. And so now it's declared special. And we sort of do that with we have this internal mechanism that biases us very strongly towards our own welfare. But it's the thinking brain can think and understand that that's sort of bullshit. That my selfishness is not really a legitimate philosophical entity. It's just noise and a distraction, and it's just all negative liability to reason. It's a corruption, a spoiler. I'm not saying you don't have to listen to it. I'm not saying you don't have to exist as a selfish animal. I'm just saying that intellectually you can know that that's not logic, that's not rationality, it's not a legitimate philosophical influence. Let's use those words. Not a legitimate philosophical influence. So the circumstance is basically that I have this scheming machine, this thinking machine that schemes ways of interacting with the world. And throughout our whole history, it was used just to scheme for individuals and what they cared about, and what they loved, and what they were networked to. And that was its entire function. It didn't think further than that. And now, because of all this higher education, we're able to think higher than that. We're able to see ourselves in the context of a whole world, to see ourselves, essentially buy somebody else's slavery, see ourselves consume excessively, preposterously in a sense, based on what other people are living with, and not really sharing the bounty, certainly, but certainly not directing the resources to those who need. Now people just say, well, yeah, the need don't deserve it or something. It's really irrelevant what they've earned, because the bottom line is they're going to suffer. So if you don't plan on killing them, you've got to take care of them. That's just the truth. So all these people who rag on the poor and do this and do that, you can't impose suffering on them, because that's just being unproductive, because your comfort is not worth their pain. So you've got to work it out where there's some sort of rational sense applied to this idea of resource allocation, or you have to apply some kind of rationale to the allocation of existence itself. But that's a whole nother question that's not even worth touching, I don't think. Not unless you're talking about everything going. But getting into some argument about who should live and who should die, well, no, that's bullshit. Or who should reproduce, anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Well, anyway, it's not for this video, anyway. So anyway, I'm sort of drifting from the focus of the point, which I just saw with such clarity today. In the sense that yes, I have this thinking machine, and there's absolutely no reason why it should function for me. It should function for all sentient beings. The welfare of all of them should be the calculation. So every action, every will I have in the world, every projection my brain calculates for me to do, every reflexive reaction, because I have this intelligence, should be in that framework. I should be seeing it not as it affects me, but how does it affect the net universe of feeling entities. And that would include the future even. So you've got to be careful about even measuring what your impact on the future will be. Will you prevent harm or cause harm? where you consume somebody who doesn't even exist now, consume their welfare, impose your broken leg, so to speak, quote unquote, on them, move it away from you and onto them. And certainly we as a society have done this for decades. The whole idea of deficit spending is essentially breaking the future's leg for your own comfort today, to avoid the pain now. Just push it onto the future. Let them fix it, is all they're basically saying. Let them deal with it even. It's like there won't even be a fix. I mean, the debt is so high now, there's no painless fix. You know, it's not going to be more than a broken leg. It's going to be a broken hip, a broken torso. The whole game is going to be broken. The whole machinery is going to be down. And, you know, what will the human race do? Yeah, that's right. They won't do what I'm saying. They won't think what I'm thinking. That won't be part of the equation. Like, how do we fix this so we maximize the harm imposed on all sentient life for all time? I mean, I know that sounds like, well, how could you talk about a universal idea from your perspective? But that's the truth of it. You live in the universe. Everything you do potentially yanks on a string that runs the universe, that will change how the gears mesh in the future forever and ever. There will be changed destinies, not only your own, from your interaction in the world, and that should be quite humbling to people. I mean, it always was to me. I at a very early age was doing these models in my head of the different worlds I would live in, and I always asked the question to myself, you know, when I wanted to, say I wanted a girl, and I would always ask myself the question, well, is there somebody better than me? I mean, I hated to admit the possibility, but it always had to enter my head that if I really love her, I want her to be with somebody maybe better than me. Maybe there's somebody that's going to be able to make her happier, that she'd have a better life with. And I hated admitting that. And it did make the equation more complicated. Because, yeah, these are really hard things to judge, but you could judge them on the superficial level. And just, you know, in a broad, general way, you could sort of tell losers from winners. But yeah, obviously what you are at 13 has not too much to do with who you'll be at 23 and 43 and 63 and so on. But it's this whole idea that of recognizing the fact that you change somebody else's destiny. And I found it very unsettling, just as I find the idea of giving birth to somebody unsettling and burdensome. The last thing I'd want somebody to do is congratulate me if I had a child, because I've fallen into a horrible, awful pile of work. The responsibility of raising a human being and protecting it from harm and destruction, and also attempting to mold it away from, at least, becoming a menace in the world. That's a daunting challenge. And people take it so lightly, as if it's just the same syndrome. It's like getting a baby duck for Easter or something, and so they let it quack around the house for a couple of days, think it's funny, and then they just dump it, in the sewer, and just say, my responsibility is complete. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that parent that way. They have it, they play some cutesy games with it, and then they start to lose interest and just feel like surviving it becomes the mission. Just surviving parenthood becomes the mission. And any grand idea of building a consciousness, building a human strong and capable and good, productive in the world, yeah, it takes real work. Because building character is painful. Character comes through pain. And nobody wishes to impose that on something they love. Well, I can't say nobody. There's plenty of assholes out there who seem to love watching other people in distress. It's a sick world. Most people are shit, stupid. They're brutal, sadistic, cruel, crude, stupid animals. And the intellectuals ought to just admit that when they say the word humanity, they're not talking about Galileo and Einstein. The average human has no conception of the character of those men. They live in a completely different, small world of scheming and taking and idolizing and deifying. Yeah, a fake fraud of a world. And so maybe the smart people ought to just quit pretending there's something else going on here. Ignorance is the greatest human sickness. It's the worst of the diseases. Is the lack of perspective, the lack of understanding of the circumstance, the fact of people's existence, what it does represent. And what it does represent is an open door to harm and such. So a little bit of rain, a little bit of thunder, but nothing outrageous. So hopefully I can navigate my way back before dark and not get struck by lightning. I mean, I really don't mind getting struck by lightning as long as it's good and fatal. You know, as long as it fries the entire neurology, melts it instantly. Certainly would be my preference. I hope. So anyway. Till next time and such. Yeah, I think that's enough. A little warm, humid. Yeah, well, it has to be humid. I mean, it's just, you know, look at the tracks in the yard from the lawnmower. It's just so wet. Wet, wet, wet. A fucking week of wet. Anyway. Damn. So, continuing, I will spoke to you later. And such. I don't know if you can hear me very well, but what the hell. Yeah, so it did rain a little. And, yeah, well, I went swimming. So, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Pleasant enough temperature, no lightning. So, yeah, a little rain under those conditions is quite tolerable. I think there's some kind of anti-shake thing on here. I'm not sure. I'll have to, if it's on, I'll have to turn it off. This causes an awful lot of bounce. Ironically, yeah, the steady shot makes the shot more unnatural. Anyway, fuck. So yeah, I didn't do a very good job on this video. I don't feel satisfied. But the point of it is that we have a thinking device in here, and it thinks in logical ways, and the logic plainly doesn't have any obligation to be devoted to this one sentience. Its obligation is to apply the logic in as big a frame as possible. That's just what the logic screams. It just screams it. I mean, you look at it and you say it's a pile of something. It's not a one thing, and it's how it affects all the things, not the one thing. We're not isolated things in an isolated universe. We're individual things in a connected verse. Yeah, it's even funny, universe. You know, it's the one verse kind of thing, but it also implies a yeah, kind of one idea that's very not what the universe is. The universe is collections of things, collections of, I mean, almost every part of the universe. I mean, as soon as you go smaller than the universe, you're already running into the parts. And if the fact is that it's all made out of parts. It's all made out of collections of similar things. Galaxies, inside of galaxies, solar systems, this kind of idea, planets, all these categories of things that are groups of things. And that's what that's the constituency. And here we are trying to say, not trying, but our personal experience screams one. I mean, I'm conscious. I don't feel any of the rest of you. Okay? The rest of you, it's just speculation. It's just a thought that you're conscious. I feel mine. Big difference. But meaningless difference logically. Because logically I know my conscious isn't distinguishable. It just falls into the category consciousness. And while I might be special, I'm special. More rarely rare than the average rareness. Yeah, shall we say that? Yeah, we might be able to rank our consciousnesses on some sort of scale, like which one is cooler than the others. Well, that's kind of unproductive. But yeah, regardless of that fact, the basic function is the same. And if my brain is going to think of strategies to achieve comfort, it's got just as much obligation to think for all the consciousnesses as it does to think for this one consciousness. The benefit of this one is not even close to the ball game. I mean, well, I almost fell again. I'm doing that. I don't like it. Anyway, this camera survived. It's really not made for any kind of weather at all, so I'm really pushing my luck here. Should have taken the other camera, moron. Not too late for that, obviously. There's a bit of haze or glare or something. Weird. Probably a water drop on the lens. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that fixed it, didn't it? Oh yeah, Gary, that did it. That haze is so much better. Anyway. Yeah, that's enough. So, till the next time and such. You know, really, these focal lengths on all these cameras suck. I mean, this is called a bloggy. So I guess you're made to talk to the damn thing. I mean, it has the, you know, reversible lens. You know, I can flip it. But, yeah, why bother if the focal length is, you know, this? What the fuck is that? You know, it sucks. Anyway, I mean, this just seems I don't know why none of the people who design these cameras actually tried talking to one and said, oh, wait a minute, you know what, we got to change that lens. Because, yeah, it's just, I know the detail is nice and blah, 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 but we gotta get a different focal length because, yeah, it's just plain stupid to, for people to talk to a camera that, it's only going to do their eyeballs. And, you know, people can always shorten their arm, but they can't lengthen their arm. That's sort of the game, right? Guess I'll go this way. Oh, now the sun's coming out. Yeah, great. It's been that kind of luck lately. It's getting all bright over there. Charming and everything. Still kind of yuck over there, though. Oh, look at the lovely irises. Yes, they are lovely, 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 lovely. Some more of them here. Yeah, I got so much weeding to do. I got so much give a shit to do. Yeah, I gotta actually start giving a shit. Look at that. Ugh, smell gasoline. Yeah, I don't know who's got that now. But anyway, so that'll be a video. Thank you very much. Wow. Strange, gotta get the right angle. Yeah, look okay there. But it's just the angle. Alright, anyway, till next time.